If you'd asked me 5 or 10 years ago about the onset of autonomy in the demolition and construction sectors, I would have painted a very specific picture. I would have described an eerie, quiet site where driverless excavators, dozers, and high ridges dismantled structures without a single soul in the cab. It seemed like the logical progression. When you look at the cutting edge of heavy plant and engineering, the bulk of the research and development capital is being poured into machine automation. We see driverless haul trucks shifting millions of tons of material in the deep pit mines of Western Australia, or as we've just seen in Sweden. We see remote controlled and semi-autonomous units operating in hazardous nuclear decommissioning environments. So naturally, you assume the guy in the cab is probably the one with the target on his back. But I've been doing a lot of thinking about this lately, and the reality of how automation is actually creeping onto our sites is unraveling in a completely different way. And it's kind of caught me completely off guard, if I'm honest. The heavy equipment operators, the guys who possess the artistry to peel a concrete panel away from a live structure without bringing the whole street down, they're kind of safe. Their seats are secure, probably for quite a long time to come. Instead, the executioner's axe is swinging for the roles we least expected to disappear so quickly. The jobs facing immediate peril are the ones hiding in plain sight, the ones that stand kind of on the periphery. And to understand why that's happening, let's take a look at the massive, almost insurmountable barriers of running an autonomous 30-ton excavator in a built-up environment. It's easy to get seduced by glossy promotional videos filmed in pristine, closed-off testing facilities in Sweden or the Czech Republic. In those controlled environments, a driverless excavator looks flawless. It digs a trench to the exact millimetre, swings with perfect geometric precision, and deposits the earth exactly where it's told to. But an urban demolition site in the middle of London, Manchester, or Birmingham is a really different beast. It's a constantly changing theatre of controlled chaos. On any given morning, an urban site presents a shifting landscape of unpredictable structural hazards, hidden voids beneath the tracks, unstable piles of rubble that change composition by the minute. And more importantly, it's surrounded by the most volatile, erratic element on the planet: human beings. You have pedestrians glued to their smartphones, wandering past the hoarding, cyclists mounting the pavements, delivery drivers dropping off materials in a hurry, and a dozen different subcontractors bustling around the footprint of the machine. An autonomous machine relies on logic, algorithms, and a predefined set of rules. An AI can't look at a fracturing brick wall and intuitively feel which way it's about to drop based on 30 years of experience. It lacks the spatial awareness, the cognitive flexibility, and the sheer nerve required to operate safely when the unexpected occurs. The moment a driverless machine makes a mistake in an urban area, the legal, financial, and reputational fallout for a contractor would be terminal. And because of this, the human operator remains the absolute king of the cab and is likely to stay that way for some time. So who is actually in the firing line? Who will be the first to go? The lowest hanging fruit on the modern site is, without question, the traditional Banksman. It's a role defined by safety, yet it's inherently flawed because it relies on human sightlines, hand signals, and verbal communication over the roar of a diesel engine. It's also a position that puts a human being directly in the line of fire. The industry is already rendering the manual banksman obsolete, not with humanoid robots, but with networks of technology. We're seeing machines fitted with 360-degree camera systems, radar, and AI-powered proximity sensors that can differentiate between a stack of pallets and a human worker in a blind spot. The moment a worker steps into a danger zone, the system instantly isolates the machine's hydraulics, cutting off the risk of human error entirely. This digital proximity detection doesn't experience fatigue, it doesn't get distracted by a text message, and it doesn't lose visibility in a sudden downpour. For site managers looking to strip liability and risk from their ledgers, replacing the Banksman with an integrated sensor suite is an absolute no-brainer. And close behind the Banksman in the queue for the exit is the site surveyor or the setting out engineer. Now, I used to watch surveyors tramping across the site with a prism pole and a notebook, methodically plotting points in the mud. It was a skilled but time-consuming craft. Today, that entire process is being dismantled by technology. Drones equipped with high-definition LiDAR can fly over a highly complex multi-level site and map the layout in a matter of minutes. They produce flawless, millimetre-accurate 3D point clouds and digital twin models before the kettle has even boiled in the site office. And when you pair those aerial drones with autonomous robotic rovers on the ground, the collection of topographical and structural data becomes completely automated. The traditional field surveyor is being forced off the site and turned into a desk-bound data analyst, staring at the screens while the machines do the walking. And even the site security guard, a fixture of the industry for decades, is facing a cold, bleak employment winter. The image of a night watchman sitting in a drafty cabin drinking lukewarm tea from a flask while checking the perimeters every few hours belongs to a bygone era. Modern sites are increasingly protected by mobile surveillance towers running advanced AI analytics. And those systems can spot an intruder in pitch darkness using thermal imaging, determine their intent, flash warning lights, and trigger automated audio warnings before a human operator ever needs to intervene. We're also seeing this creep into progress monitoring and field quantity surveying. The tedious task of walking a site to manually verify how many tons of material have been cleared or which internal walls have been stripped out is ripe for automated execution. Software can now take daily drone scans or 360-degree footage recorded from a site supervisor's helmet camera and instantly cross-reference it against the digital demolition plan. It calculates volumes of shifting material and tracks project timelines with a level of speed and accuracy that no human with a tape measure could ever hope to achieve. Well, all of that is a fascinating twist of fate. The industry has spent millions, billions possibly, trying to automate excavators and loaders. Yet the barriers of urban chaos and non-repetitive tasks look set to keep those seats safe, at least for now. Instead, automation has slipped quietly through the back door, taking over the eyes, the ears, the data collection, and the safety monitoring. The people who are being replaced first are not the ones pulling the levers. They're the ones holding the clipboards, the ones guiding the tracks, and the ones guarding the gates. And this shift is happening right under our noses. And I suspect the recent avalanche of stringent safety regulations, most notably the Building Safety Act, will only accelerate that process. Contractors are desperate to remove human liability from the equation. And regrettably for the banksman and the surveyor, they are probably the easiest variables to delete. And they will likely be the first to go.